Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing a 2022 Ram 3500 Laramie Mega Cab to a 2022 Ford F-350 Lariat with the Super Crew. The reason I picked out these two particular trucks is both of them have a sporty appearance from an exterior aesthetics perspective. They're both competitors from an interior perspective, and you know, we have the biggest cab from Ram versus the biggest cab from Ford, so I figured it'd be a pretty fun comparison. Before we get into the video, I do want to mention that my car buying course is available. Link in the description down below if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car and really just learn how to properly go about the whole buying situation. And it's super affordable on top of that. Let's get into the video. Let's start things under the hood of the F-350. So we have the 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 475 horsepower and then 1,050 pound-feet of torque. And it is a V8 diesel, pretty crazy setup, lots of horsepower. Now, going over to the Ram, we have the 6.7 liter Cummins, goes through a 6-speed automatic known as the Ison. It's good for 420 horsepower and then 1,075 pound-feet of torque, and this is an inline 6. So even though they're the same displacement, they're two completely different powertrain setups, right? Inline 6 versus V8 diesel, pretty interesting. Now, going back over to the Ford, you guys are probably thinking this truck is black. It's actually not. This is antimatter blue. It's a really dark metallic blue, and it almost looks black, which is pretty cool. Definitely a really cool color on the Fords. Now, you guys can see the giant LED accent lights that come with the Super Duty, and then notice that everything on the front end has been darkened. This has like the black appearance package on it, so it gives it a sportier appearance. Got the fog lights down below, tow hooks there on the front end, and then Ford's extremely large air dam that helps out with aerodynamic purposes and makes it look like it has a little beard right there at the bottom. But anyways, popping over here to the Ram, you can see this one's got the Night Edition, so again, sporty looking package. Notice that we've got our 3500 heavy duty badge there on the side, and then you've got the full LED lights here with the LED reflector lights. Definitely distinctive black grille there, and then notice there's a camera there at the bottom of the A in the Ram logo, and then you got the tow hooks there on the front end, parking sensors all along the front as well, and then you guys can see the fog lights off to the side. Body colored bumper, that comes with the Night Edition package, and again, it's a great looking truck from a front end perspective. The silver definitely looks nice in contrast to the black. Popping back over the Ford, rather, you guys can see you've got the blacked out wheels, which again add to the sporty theme of the truck. There's a quick look at the front suspension, and the cool thing about the Super Duties is they just have a really nice stance from the factory. They just sit really high, which I think looks great. Notice our Lariat F-350 badge is blacked out. Got our 6.7 liter Power Stroke badge there on the sides. You can flex to everyone that you got the diesel truck, right? And then notice that they make the mirror caps black, or these are body colored rather. Antimatter blue. It's dark, guys, which again adds to the sporty theme rather than having chrome on the mirror caps. And then you can see that this particular truck has the FX4 off-road package, so you've got the upgraded shocks. Notice the leaf springs, they're massive, so you're going to see on a heavy-duty truck like this. And overall, again, from a side view perspective, I think it's great looking. Look at the Ram. Again, same thing. You've got a blacked out wheel as part of the Night Edition package to make the truck look a little bit sportier. And you'll notice that with the front suspension, again, same thing. It just has a really nice stance stock already. So it just sits pretty high. Notice all the badges here on the side are all blacked out as part of that Night Edition package. You got the body painted fender flare there. And then you can see here with the trailer tow mirrors, which you can flip up. They've got that function. This one is a mega cab. So you can see that you've got the extended cab on the truck. Now, the one downside about the mega cab is you can't get it with the long bed. You can only get the 6'4" bed with the mega cab, whereas Ford, with their Super Crew, you can get the longer bed with that. But if you get a crew cab Ram, you can get the longer bed. And again, beefy leaf springs. Notice the key fob here with the Ford. A bunch of functions. You got your unlock, lock, remote start, and then the drop down there for the tailgate. All automatic, which is definitely a nice feature to have. Notice that this one has the spray-in liner from the factory. We've got the plugins there for the fifth wheel. You've got the LED bed lights on top of that. You notice the cargo light with the camera there at the very top. And then this one does have Ford's bed step system, which is definitely a nice luxury feature. And lifting it up, if you do get the bed step, it does make the tailgate a little bit heavier, but it's very manageable. Now, finishing things up with the rest of the rear, you can see the taillights, which are super distinctive on the Super Duty. I think they look great at night whenever I see them. Giant Super Duty logo stamped into the bed with the Ford logo just up above. Parking sensors there on the rear, and you can see the receiver hitch just down below, and then notice the exhaust tips popping out either side. And yeah, that's everything for the rear. Now, popping over to the Ram, notice functionality in the key fob's the same. Looks a little bit different, but still have the drop down with the tailgate and all that. And notice this one also has a bed liner from the factory, which is definitely a plus. And also, you guys can see here with the truck, notice that you got nice contrast here in the back between the darker elements and like the taillights and then the paint. But you can see here, again, with the bed liner, notice it's got LED bed lights. You've got the little outlet there in the bed, and then the LED cargo light with the camera there at the top. This one doesn't have a fifth wheel prep, but you can get a fifth wheel prep with Ram, just like Ford. The tailgate is lighter with the Ram. It doesn't. If you do a multi-function tailgate, though, with the Rams, they're heavier, but yeah, lighter than the Fords. Anyways, you guys can see here with the LED lights, and then notice the darker portion there in the center, body painted bumper. You got the little bumper step right there, parking sensors along the bottom, and then notice the blacked out badges with the truck. And if you guys are wondering from a payload capacity, we'll pop to the interior, but I'll just quickly talk about this. The Ram's a little bit lower than the Ford, and same thing in terms of the towing capacity as well. It's slightly lower with that setup, with these two specific trucks. Anyways, popping the interior here of the Ford, you guys can see here with the seats, really nice leather, and then you got the stitching throughout, heated seats in the back. And then notice you got all the charging ports with the vents. Definitely a nice setup. Tons of space back there from a legroom perspective. The Super Cruise really nice and spacious, which is a huge plus. Now, popping over to the Ram Mega Cab, notice with the door panel on the rear, it definitely has more nice materials, right? You've got more like padding and everything on the door panel, so it looks a little bit more luxury compared to the Ford. But if you look at like a new F-150, they've changed that with the door panel, so the Super Duty just doesn't have the refresh that the F-150 has to make the door panel look a little bit nicer. Now, I've got the seat folded down so you can see the space you can get with the Mega Cab. That's one of the benefits of the Mega Cab, is you've got the different fold down functions with the seats. So not only do you get more legroom, but you can basically use it as really solid like storage space area. So that's definitely a big plus. And notice how it goes all the way down into the floor with that little latch. You can do it with one arm, which is great. And with the single seat side. With the double seat side, it's a little bit more challenging to lift it all up with one arm. It is possible, though. Just got to lift some weights. Anyways, you guys can see here, heated seats, got charging ports just like the Ford. So, you know, there's some differences, but a lot of similarities, too, in the rear. Now, popping into the front, notice again, you've got the padding there for your arm on the Ford, and then with the mirrors, they do have blind spot monitoring, and notice we got all of your window controls there. We've got the mirror extender, so that's a cool thing. I wonder if Ram's ever going to add that. We'll see. Got memory seats, and then you can see here with the front seats again, with the leather and the perforated leather in the center. Power adjustments in the center of the seat, and then you are on the side of the seat, rather. Got a Super Duty logo, parking brake, and then notice you got the pedal adjustment, you got the light controls, the mirror lights out either side, and so let's pop back over to the Ram now. Now going back to the Ram, you can see here from an interior perspective with the door panel. Again, they just use more nice materials here with the Ram heavy duty, so that's a big plus with the Ram. You can still get blind spot monitoring in the mirrors. They've got the flip out function, so they don't have like the extend function that the Ford has, so it's just a little bit different in terms of just how that all goes. And then here are the front seats. So again, you can see here the Laramie logo and then all of the leather throughout. Definitely looks nice with the piping and the stitching. And then you've got your adjustments there on the side of the seat. Pedal layout just down below. And then notice you've got that for the outlet there in the bed. And then you've got your light controls, pedal adjustment. And yeah, there's one more look before we pop into the interior of the Ford. So you can see the startup animation here. Definitely cool. Built Ford tough. I think they've like changed their slogan recently, but still have that with the trucks. Anyways, you can see here, you've got the adaptive cruise controls for the center stack. You got your windshield wiper turn signal stock. And then notice we do have a column shifter with the drive mode select. And then we've got the plus and minus for the gear selection for that 10-speed automatic. And then you can see here with the gauge cluster. So first off, you've got all these little screens you can scroll through to see different bits of info on the truck, like you saw the off-road status. And then on either side with the gauges themselves, they are analog gauges. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent looking setup. It's not super techy looking or super luxury looking. It just kind of like gets the job done. And then what you guys are seeing right now is the different traction modes. So there's like traction control off, and then there's traction control all the way off, and then there's the sport traction control rather. And so that's the thing with the Super Duties, is you just have all the different traction control systems depending on what you want to be doing with the truck, whether it's drag racing or getting out of the mud, right? And then you can see diesel exhaust brakes there at the top, and then the camera as well. It's kind of like big things. Now with the 22 Super Duties, you've got the 12-inch display. And the thing I love about the Fords is the camera takes up the whole infotainment system. That's definitely a big plus. And then notice there with the backup camera, resolution on it's really solid, which is another big plus. And as for the rest of the 12-inch display, response time with it's great. And I'm glad that Ford added that into the Super Duties, because it just makes the interior feel a little bit more modern. And of course, it gives people a reason to trade in their current Super Duty for a new one so they can get the new camera, right? Even though not much else has changed with the truck. But yeah, having the horizontal infotainment system, it works. And I have no complaints about that whole setup that Ford's done with it. And I love how they have the pages thing there on the side. I think it's just super intuitive. So they've nailed it with that. Now, got the driveline selects. We have 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel high, and then 4-wheel low. And then notice radio controls, dual zone climate, heated cooled seats for the front, all the normal stuff you expect in a Lariat package truck. And then you can see there with the trailer brake controls, and then notice the storage space with the phone charger, and then the wood trim. And then you can see that's where the shifter is in like an F-150, so it's just storage space in the Super Duty. And then there at the center console, you can see here dual glove box, again really good with the storage space, the Super Duty on it, and the padding all over the dash as well, which is another nice touch. And then you can see here at the very top of the truck, they've got a bunch of different controls, so you can do like the auxiliary switches there, which is great. There's 6 different auxiliary switches. You've got the power sliding window, and then you've also got the full panoramic sunroof and control for the sunroof there at the front. So there's quite a bit going on. Now, here's the window sticker for the Super Duty, and I believe I showed the window sticker for the Ram too, and we'll double check at the end of the video. But you can see all the options on this particular truck. Pretty much it's fully loaded as it gets, but the MSRP, $80,165, and we'll see how that compares to the Ram from a price point perspective. But yeah, great looking truck with that particular package that it has. Now, popping to the interior here with the Ram, notice startup animation still looks great, which is a huge plus. And then you can see here with the steering wheel, notice we got the leather trim all around. And then you can see here with the cruise control there off to the side, and then your gear limiter, and then you've got radio controls there on the back. And then those voice command, phone controls, controls for the center stack, turn signal, windshield wiper stock, right? And then you got the column shifter there for the Laramie, which looks great. And yeah, there you go. Pop into the gauge cluster. Notice it kind of has more of like a luxury-esque appearance to it. So Ram's done a really good job with how they've styled their gauge cluster, I'd have to say, with their trucks. Now, I guess what people could see is that you've got like the same gauge cluster in most of the trucks, but I think it looks great. 12-inch display, just like the Ford, but it's vertical instead of horizontal. Notice the camera system doesn't fill up the entire screen. Resolution's still fantastic. And you've got like the split screen function. So it's really easy to use. You just have like a smaller screen that you're viewing the camera through. So some of you might not care. Some of you might not like that. Leave that up to you guys. Notice there with the climate on, you've got controls there on either side, but dual zone climate, you've got heated cooled seats, heated steering wheel, all that. And then the controls I'm pointing at the top is like your lane departure assistance, basically. And just like the Ford, really responsive infotainment system. It's easy to use. They've got shortcut buttons there at the bottom, and it's just a pretty self-explanatory system overall. And so no complaints with it. I think that it's great. Ram did a good job. Parking sensor control at the bottom, and then notice that's where your tow haul mode and then your diesel exhaust brake is as well, which is important. And then trailer brake controls, which is also important for a tow truck. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low, and then neutral. So no 4-wheel auto in either truck. And then you can see here with the center console, the storage space there. And this has the cool trick sliding center console, which Ram is now known for. Notice it's got the wireless phone charger, a bunch of USBs, full power outlet. So storage space, practicality, great. Dual glove box, which again, great from a storage space and practicality standpoint. And then you guys can see the padding there on the dash. And then notice this one has the camera mirror, which is a cool tech feature that the Ram comes equipped with. Power sliding window. Now, from a sunroof perspective, you can get a sunroof on the Ram, but not a panoramic. Now, here's a window sticker for this 3500. And so we're $80,000 on the Ford. We'll see what the total price is on this after all the options. I'm going to guess pretty close. I know you guys are like, Ben, you put this video together, you know. I do a lot of videos. I don't have the prices memorized on the vehicles. But yeah, this one's pretty much fully loaded just like the Ford. So they're as pretty much as comparable as it gets, if you ask me. Notice how much the high output costs, $12,000 for that powertrain. Definitely costly, but if you tow, it's worth it. $86,450. We actually beat the Ford, so the Rams, this Ram is more expensive with the options it has. So let's finish things up quickly with both of the trucks. So looks are subjective. I think both the trucks look great with their blackout packages. I think that both manufacturers have nailed it from that perspective. From an interior perspective, the Ram uses more nice materials throughout the interior. Ford seats feel fantastic. They both have tons of space. The Mega Cab is more comparable to Ford's Super Crew in terms of space compared to Ram's crew cab, if that makes sense. They can both tow a massive amount. They both have great payloads, but like I said, with Ram's Mega Cab setup, it has a lower payload than what the Ford F-350 has with the Super Crew. If you want a higher payload with the Ram, go for the regular crew cab, and that'll give you a little bit of a higher payload. And then powertrain setups are a little bit different. The Ford, when you aren't towing anything, definitely feels crazy fast because it's got lots of horsepower and that 10-speed automatic's quick to shift and all that fun stuff. But what I've heard from owners with both sides is they're both really good tow trucks, but the Ram just with that ice in, once you hook that thing up to a trailer with all that torque that it has, it just punches and it goes. So I don't feel like you can go wrong either way. I want you guys to let me know which truck you would choose, and there you go.